Me with the foreshore, kicking with your torso. Boys getting high and the girls even more. So wave your hands if you're not with a man. Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
Anyway, it's Wednesday and I'm in the office today. All sorts going on. Jay is smashing the yard. The grabs are going out. We're selling aggregates by the ton load, obviously. The nerd, the coolest nerd in the UK, who's still single, by the way, is smashing out the drawings. Is that good, though? Are you offended if I call you the coolest nerd in the UK?
I'll take that all day.
Yeah, it's good, then. Yeah. So, yeah, busy day, all sorts going on. But I'll tell you who is busy is our in-house mechanic, Dale, who is doing all sorts. I don't even know what jobs he's on, but I know he's busy. Let's have a look.
Hi, guys. So, yeah, the wet belt job. It's full of oil, it's full of water. Primed up, well I say it's primed up, probably need a bit more coolant in there, but it needs a vacuum pump. The vacuum pump, so there's still no brakes. I'm guessing it's broken something inside. I've not actually pulled it to bits yet, but yeah, it's a common fault. So I've ordered one of those before the customer can have that back. I've got to fix that, but I've also got the Focus that I put the new engine in. It needs a spring and a few little bits to get it through its MOT, and then that'll be going for its MOT as well. So yeah, a nice steady but busy day. I've got to get over to the Aldershire yard as well, just to top up a few of the machines. We've had blue and grease up a few things, so I'll get over there as well at some point today. But now I'll crack on with these. Yeah, nice steady job on a Thursday. Let's go. So here is the old vacuum pump. Not quite sure how this is built up inside, but as you can see, it's obviously not meant or not supposed to look like this. So yeah, that is the reason why the customer had no brakes. So he's lucky, really. And basically this happens because of a build-up of the rubber all around here. It makes this really hard to spin and seizes it up. So it's had a new one and the brakes are now working. So we'll take this for a test run and tell the customer it's done.
I'll tell you what, the weather is nice today, but look what we've got here. This, Dave from D&J Projects has let me borrow his crusher to match the 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗏. Actually, it is my crusher, but Dave's had it more than me. He's just come back, it's been on hire at Hillhead. The boys at Rubble Crusher have given it the full once over, a service, sorted a few bits out as well. They said it's in really good condition, which I'm pleased about. So yeah, now we can get back to some full-blown crushing in the yard. Over on Project Mayville, you might remember we've dipped into this one a couple of times. It's not really been a chunky project, but that's the type of project we are running all the time. We've got multiple smaller projects on all the time. Well, this week we're finishing up and the guys are sorting the floor out. Have a look. So I'm walking around the yard, and this is what we like to see. Empty bays. Now granted, they're quite small bays ours. We're still playing about with how we're going to lay this out, and there might be some developments on this yard quite soon, but it's good to see stuff going out the door. We've got another 40 ton coming to top the 𝗕𝗟𝗓𝗟 bay up. That's just been topped up, that's just been topped up. So yeah, it's going out the door. We're slowly but surely building up our customer base. It's really hard because I don't want to take work off other people, but at the same time I want this to grow and flourish. So we're getting there slowly but surely, and slow and steady. So that's what wins the race. So over in Liverpool, Alex is going to take you around our properties. Now this is a very stressful time for us on our property side, because I mentioned on Wednesday we're moving old tenants, existing tenants out and putting new tenants in. But in the interim, we've got to try and do a lot of TLC to the properties, because we like to give the new incoming tenants a really sort of brand new feel. We want it to feel like it's a day one property, because you know, that's what we'd want for our kids. So why wouldn't we want that for our tenants and our students? So yeah, Alex is a little bit stressed this week, but he's actually taking you back to where it all started. So we're called Emperor Property. Emperor is that whole side of it, and it's all because Alex's very first property that he bought and saved up and built himself was on Empress Road. So over to you, Mr. Didick.
So welcome back to Liverpool. So today I'm going to give you a little special treat, because all students have been moving out to all our older properties. I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey, sort of our journey of how we started in property. And behind me here is the first ever house I ever bought and ever did as a HMO. So we'll go inside and have a look. This house was the first ever one I did. So back in 2019. Yeah, 2016, sorry. This house come up on the market, and at the time I was an electrician by trade, and I was trying to find a second income or something to give me some security in case I weren't getting paid from work. And I was looking to do student accommodation. That was what I set my mind on, and HMO stuff all the time. I sort of understand what it meant, but I didn't know the ins and outs of it. So I set out to buy this one, come up on the market, and I bought it like 91k. Had to bid to buy it at the time. And then I spent 6 months then doing the work, done most of it myself. I had a couple of friends in, and a couple of other builders who we used, and I've used since, Josh and Ben. They watch this channel as well, so they'll be watching this. And my dad done all the painting, done all the bits and bobs with me and helped me out on here. And there was loads of other things and other people who got involved to help me at the start, and like the budget I had in mind to use, I basically doubled it. I think I ended up spending like 60 odd grand or something at the time, which back then was a lot of money. Now, if I'd done one at HMO for 60 odd grand, I'd be made up. But at the time, it was like major pressure. I'd never done nothing like this before. Didn't know anything to do with HMOs. So I was watching YouTube, reading Google every single night, trying to learn different things of how to do certain things and look at designs. But it turned out okay in the end. It ended up being a 5-bed, all-en-suite HMO. But I couldn't work out how to get 6 rooms with all-en-suite at the time, which what we can do now is 6-bed all-en-suite. But this one being the first one, I was still trying to get to grips with layouts and stuff like that. I built an extension on the back, a 2-storey extension, which was like a metre and a bit long, because the architect at the time said this is all you need to do, when I should have went right the way out, and I could have under permitted development for a single storey, and then just kept the second storey at 1.2. But I didn't, and looking back now, I don't know why I did that. And then even in the loft space, I didn't go right the way out with the eaves. I kept it too short. The bathrooms, the way I done a few things, the sinks were too big. Loads of things, looking back now at the time. Things that I bought and used I would never use ever again. And obviously you learn as you go. But as I say, this house has been refinanced twice for me. We've pulled over 100 grand back out the house on refinance each time. Between the 2 times. It's earned rent right the way through, still earns rent now. Like, it doesn't stand me any money. Like, all my money that I put into this at the beginning, I've had back a couple of times over, and it continues to pay me every month with no issue. So obviously now the tenants have all moved out, and we've got our checkout to do. So for people who don't know, the student year ends the end of June every single year. So they all move out of the accommodation that they're in, and then the next ones are due to move in on the 1st of July, the 1st of August, or the 1st of September. So you stagger the dates. That's how we do it anyway. So we have people move out the end of June, so like the 29th of June is our move out date. We've got 2 days, 48 hours to get the tenant out, do a check-in, check out inventory to report any damages or mess that they've left behind, get the lads in to do the maintenance, get the cleaners in, then get the check-in people back in again to do a full new inventory for the new tenants, and then move the new ones in on the 1st of July. So some of our properties are staggered, so we'll do a summer discount where we'll have over half rent for July, but they've got no access to the property. But that gives us 4 weeks to do our maintenance then, so it's a little bit less pressure. But some of the properties, when we do the viewings the previous year, the tenants want to move in on the 1st because they need to be in the city because they're working or they've got other commitments. So as I say, we've got 2 days to turn them around, and we like to do it whereby half of the stock more or less is a quick turnaround, which is 2 days, and the other half we've got 4 weeks to do, so it just balances the workload out, then there's not too much pressure. But this one has got 4 weeks, and there's a couple of maintenance bits that we need to do, and I've been trying to do them over the past couple of years, but because we've had only 2 days every year to get it turned around, we haven't had enough time. But this year we have. Yeah, so you'll see the beds, you know, the beds look sound still. Most landlords will still keep them, but of stains that we would normally get a mattress company in to clean, but we're just going to get rid of them, get them out. And one of the main reasons why as well is there's no storage. So it's a full divan base on the bed, so they're going to go. You'll see on the other one, so there's a video that we've done where we got the furnishing in 11 𝗕𝗚𝗟𝗔. You'll see the bed where it's got the cutout on the bottom, whereas on this one there's nowhere to store. So this room's quite a decent size. The one's upstairs a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more difficult. But we're going to keep the bedside and the desk and the wardrobes, as I say, they're fine. When I've been thinking about it over the years, I did want to swap them, but I've decided not to do that now because there's nothing wrong with them really. Just going to swap the beds to make the rooms a bit more spacious. As I say, this room is decent size, so you could get away with it, but we're going to do it for the storage at the bottom. So you see there's like a common theme through all of them. So even at the very beginning, we still do a lot of stuff that's the same. So like we still use the same type of furniture, so it'll be a bedside, desk, chair, wardrobe, bed, mirror. The mirrors have always been the same. Telly on the wall. We've always made sure there's telly on the wall central to the bed, always best location, because if we were living in the property or it was me, where would the want things to be? You want to try and make it right. We've always tried to get en suites in. And even like looking at this now, it's mad looking at these tiles. I remember getting them from B&Q. They was the cheapest ones that offered at the time because it was on a tight budget. But it still works, still fine. Obviously needs a bit of a deep clean now. A couple of little maintenance bits. I could do with probably a mirror. Back then I didn't use LED mirrors. It was just a bog standard mirror. I think it was like £10 from IKEA. Most of the stuff I bought was from eBay. Even them doors there, I bought them. They were on, someone was selling them on eBay, 50 quid a door, bought them. Everything was just, you know, trying to cost save on every single thing I could. So we're in bed 2 now. So you'll see there from this section, this is where the 2-storey extension was, so we had to apply for planning at the time for this, and because I couldn't work out the layouts at the time of how to get all the bathrooms and the en-suites in, we thought we had to build a 2-storey extension. Now on our new ones now we don't do that because we moved the stairs where Niall's standing now. Them stairs get pulled further forward to make this room bigger, whereas we couldn't get our heads around it, so we put in for planning. You know what I mean? So thinking back and I'm thinking, wow, we didn't go right the way out on the single story, which we should have, which I explained before. But as you can see, it's a little bit tight, the floor space. So if this bed is removed and made into a smaller one, a 4-footer with storage, it's a lot better. Like the desk and that's been moved around at the minute, I don't know why, but that's all just going to stay and get done. The ensuite's there, again, it's too big, it's massive. Like a big square ensuite takes up half the room. The sink was just a cheap sink I found on eBay at the time. I use vanities now, a little bit smaller. That's too big, and you'll see in some of the other bathrooms it's like a bit tight. But it's like it's a little bit worse for wear now. But as I say, it's been used for years now, and all we have to do is maintain. And as long as we try and keep on top of a couple of things, which we do, it'll still keep earning money. And because this is a 5-bed and there's loads of 6 beds in Liverpool, this is always one of the first ones to go because there's not that much out there in terms of a 5-bed ensuite property. So this is room 4, which you have room 2, room 3, room 4, and I couldn't work out how to do the bathrooms either at the time, so we done like a Jack and Jill shared type bathroom. So room 3, room 4 both have a door going into the bathroom, so Jack and Jill style. So this is what I mean by a Jack and Jill. See the 2 doors? So this is what we come up with at the time to do it. So each person could use it, and there's a little sign on the back that says please remember to lock the door before and after use, just to give yourself a bit of privacy. But most of the time they just leave them open. Well, not open, but they leave them unlocked. But yeah, and then now that's where we split this in the middle, and we have 2. But that's when that door moves there, and the staircase has changed. So there's a lot. I mean, over the years we've changed and swapped and changed and learned the best way to do these layouts. And the cylinder in there, the person who done it at the time, had leaks everywhere. It was a nightmare. Like we had loads of problems with the plumbing, but there's a few things that aren't right, and we're going to get that fixed, because even the way he piped it up wasn't right. So Thomas Cook, we're now calling, because he's always on holiday, but Tom, our plumber from EveryTrade, is going to come and sort it out and fix it for us and put it back the way it should be, or how it should have been from the very beginning, because we have problems every single year with the heating in here. It has air pockets in the joints, or it just doesn't work, or the pump's trying too hard to pump it round because of the way it's been done. So that's going to get redone. But you'll see here as well, there's a bit of damp coming through now from the roof upstairs, which requires a bit of maintenance work. That's why, as I say, all the stuff that we do on the bays now and down the gully where the water is, we do all the GRP work and spend the money early on when we're doing the works, because these are the problems that you start having over the years. It's just to eliminate anything like this. So what we're going to do on this one is knock it all off, fix the roof, and tank it, and then replace it with new plasterboard and skim it while we've got the 4 weeks to do it. This has been happening for about 2 or 3 years now, and we just haven't had the time to get in without disturbing the tenants. But as I say, now, because we've got the 4 weeks, we're going to get in and hit it. But it's mad being in this property. It brings back so many memories, like how many times my dad was here with me, helping me, the help I had over the years. Like even the second house that I had after this one, that's when I went fully, shall you say, into property, and I stopped working on site. And I just worked on there every single day, and it was just me and my dad for 6 months, and we built a 7-bed 3-bathroom HMO. And at that point I had a bit more knowledge then, I had a bit more skill in terms of other building works. The electrician by trade, so I could do that anyway, but the other bits and bobs I'd picked up from here, and me and my dad set out together, both working for free. My dad gave up his own time, and both of us were there every single day working, and that alone is a memory in itself. And when I was in there on the weekend, because then tenants have moved out and moved in, so we can't show you that on YouTube, it was mad being in there, walking around and thinking, wow, the memories bringing back. And it's the same in here, the blood, sweat and tears that I did in this property to get it over the line, and how difficult it was. Like looking back now, if I had them challenges today, it'd be so much easy compared to the challenges me and Chris deal with on a day-to-day basis now. It's like times 10, it's ridiculous. So you'll see what I mean by what I said about the eaves. Like now we push the eaves in our loft conversions as far forward as we can to still have a little bit of storage, but to still give you floor space a lot. Like in terms of a license measurement size for HMO license, they only account from 1.5 meters high anyway, floor space. So 1.5 is around that point anyway. So they only include that as their measurements for the minimum room size. That space that would be all under there wouldn't be included, but it just makes the usability of the room a little bit better. But back then, I didn't really understand all that. And as I say, the bed is a full double-sized bed, and when we do reduce it down to the new ones, which are the 4-foot ones, it just gives you that a little more room to walk down here, because at the minute you're ducking under the paling. The bathroom again, too big. You should have made it a little bit better, the shape of it and size. The floors did get dropped. They weren't much higher than this, but we didn't drop the floor below. We kept the existing first floor in, and the existing first floor set of stairs. We only dropped the loft ceiling, which is now on all the new ones. We drop everything down because it gives you that much height. So you'll know in the new ones, when I'm walking around the loft, my head is about there on the paling. So you can see the difference on them, what we make up. But still works, still earns money, and still a good property. Yeah, so we're just walking to another house now. That was part of the move out. So one of the ones, which is around the corner, we had 2 days to get them out and back in again, and there was quite a bit of damage. So it was a weekend when they moved out, so I've done a little bit of vlogging myself, a little bit of videoing, because no videographers were in, and I'll show you that what happened. So, as I say, like all the maintenance are coming now, so everyone's going to be walking in doing work. What room are you in? What number is it?
4. It's all in boxes.
Still some stuff left. Xbox. Someone's had a toolkit out. Dirty in here. Really bad. We've got 2 days. So yeah, I knew it before downstairs that someone might still be here, because the all the Xbox bits are there. So, and then something's going on, they say it'll take them 20 minutes, but as I say, we need them out. Been getting told every day for weeks that they need to leave. So, looking at them marks on the wall, thinking, what are they? So you know what they are? You can see the circle there. Look. Oh, that circle there. It's only a dartboard, isn't it? So you've had a dartboard on the wall. They've been throwing darts at the wall. So they must have took this off and they've hung it on our hook there. So our hook for the photo has been their dartboard hook. And then to top it off, let's look for the evidence. In there, you can see, here's a dart. Yeah, so you'll see, obviously on that video there now that you've watched, what they get up to. So like we find everything in these properties, and every year something different always happens, and that dartboard situation there, it's like, it blew my mind when I was there. So like when I'm around, I've got like a good eye for things, me, and because these are our properties, I know them inside out like the back of my hand, and I know when things look out of place. And when I seen it, I thought, what's going on there? I couldn't work out what it was, and then as soon as I seen the circle of the foot, I thought, it's a dartboard. So obviously Luke Littler has come to the scene, hasn't he? And now all the young lads, because it was 6 lads living in there, all think they're professional dart players. They've obviously bought a dartboard and just thought, yeah, let's set up there. They used our hook that we've put our picture on and just gone for it. And it weren't just one dart we found. Over the course of the weekend, we found a couple of darts. So I don't know where they were thrown them, they were all inside the sofa. But yeah, so I'm standing in a room which is part of a dormer. So as I've explained on the other projects that we're doing now, Project Adelaide and Project Albert, where we don't do dormers no more, this was one of the ones that we did. So this property is like 4 years old now, yeah, 4 years old. And this is the dormer, so look how much bigger it is in the loft compared to the other ones where we're standing inside the pitch and it runs down a little bit, which I'm hoping now will show you some B-roll now. And we have a Velux about here. There's a purlin and like a bit of a storage door around that section there, but now look how big it is. So much bigger and better. But as I say, with it being a conservation area, it's not one of the ones where you can't really do them as such going forward. Yeah, so I was going to another one which we can try and show you because the shoots have moved out. We've got a little gap on it, and I'm going to show you the evolution of what's happened here. So this is about 2 years old, this one I think, or 2 or 3 years old, 2 years old. So we're here to show you how things have changed from the other one further up, and it was my first ever one. I showed you one that was about 4 years old, this one's about 2, and then obviously you've seen the Albert ones and the Project Adelaide ones getting done, so you can see them, and once that's finished you'll be able to piece it all together in your mind and see how we've transitioned. We're back in another house at another breakfast bar, and you'll see there's a bit of common theme here. They all look the same in terms of layout. They all have the kitchen behind, the fridge is there, the breakfast bar's there, and this is our sort of like little setup that we go for. It's like a template, if you can imagine it. Obviously the Project Albert was different because we didn't have the basement to put all the tank and stuff down, whereas on these properties we did. So you'll see, you know, it's mostly the same. On the property I showed you before, where we had the dartboard incident, we used to use purlins from the loft. So when we do the loft conversion stuff, we'd have the purlins left over, we'd put them through a planer, burn them, put varnish on them and put them all together and make a table. But since then, we've then designed the concrete tables, which is what we put in all of our properties, and we've stuck doing this now. And again, Niall, behind the camera, this was the first property he filmed when we started doing it as well, these tables. And this is a common theme you see as well. Concrete table, dead hard wearing, good little feature, nice piece of art. And this is the same what you've seen us making in Project Albert. So it will look exactly the same, obviously a little bit of a different tint, because sometimes Christian has a little play about with it. The edges are sometimes a little bit more coarse or not. This one's a little bit coarse. The one he's done over there is a little bit more smooth. But yeah, you can see the change that we've done. So each time we've done them as well, so every year we'd have like 4 or 5 different projects on at once. We'd always try and keep the same theme in terms of colour. So on this particular year, we just hit it for like the black at the bottom and like I think it was the stone effect colour on the top. And I actually like this contrast, mate. This property is one of the best ones as well in this area. I like it. Again, 6-bed ensuite. And you think about all these properties, the gross turnover, and this is like £48,000 a year gross, obviously before we've paid any bills or fees and stuff like that. But each one of them houses earned 48k gross, and the net profit on each one, so the net profit on this is anything between 22 and 24k per annum. So if you can imagine, how many would you need of them to be able to replace your income? So if you're watching at home and you're thinking, if I wanted to get into property, how many HMOs would I need? Well, we do 22 to 24k net profit a year. So you do the maths, how many would you need to be able to think, I live a nice life here, I can sit back, do what I want to do, and live off them for the rest of your life. And this is what me and Chris are building. We're building a portfolio, which is obviously a lot more than 2, but a portfolio that we can at one day go, you know what, we've done enough now, we're happy where we are, and we can sit back and have the comfort of knowing that these properties are behind us to pay us, give us that income, fund our life, fund our families, and fund people around us. So that's it for today in Liverpool. I hope you had a good little insight into what our portfolio is like. Bit of a trapper jam, you know, and what we get up to every year, and what we have to do, and the short turnaround we have to do. Like, there was an incident that happened yesterday as well. One of our other properties had a tenant moving across from another one, and the room that she'd left behind has got like £6-7 worth of damage because they've been jumping on the bed, snapped the blinds, snapped the wardrobe off, broke the vanity door, and she weren't meant to move in until a week later. But when we were there, I caught her walking in. I thought she's moving in straight away, so I had to run over, stop her, pull her to one side and explain to her, you're not going to go in, because until we sort out the cost that you've got to pay for and damage wise, I'm not going to let you in another property. It's too much risk for us. But like, the turnaround that we have each year is hard. Like, we have 2 days to get in the properties, clean, do all the repairs, clean them and get them ready for the next tenants to move in, because if we didn't, you've seen a couple of videos there, like, imagine a tenant moving straight into that property. I could not give the keys over, or anyone who works for us give the keys over to a new tenant and allow them to allow their son, someone's son or someone's daughter, to live in them rooms, on them beds, in them bathrooms. I just couldn't do it, couldn't bring myself to do it, and I wouldn't like it myself. So that's why we go above and beyond to make sure that they are tip-top condition. And even yesterday, we're right behind the cleaners, checking off and making sure everything's done to the last detail. And there's bits that the people in the cleaners are missing off as well, because there is so much pressure in time to get them done. We're forcing them to get things done on a tight schedule. They do make mistakes and do miss bits, but me, Christian and the team are behind them right the way through, and I'm not messing to it. Like, we have 3-4 hours sleep, and we're back up early in the morning, going to bed late, and it's not easy, it's hard. It is hard, but we're experienced in doing it now. We've done it that many times. But yeah, as I say, hopefully that was a good little insight for you there into what's happened. You've seen our properties, you've seen the evolution of where it started and what we're doing now. And then yeah, but as I say, I'm going to hand you back over to Chris now.
So I've only managed to get down to the yard once this week, but I can see that we're, when it's sort of a break in the weather, we're screening some of our soil. So I'd say now this is exactly the product we want to make. We've bought another screen, a 10mm screen, so when it's drier we can make some really nice fluffy soil. But yeah, it's nice and it's selling as well, and the feedback we're getting from the people that are buying it is that it's good, and it's especially good for the likes of turfing and stuff like that. So again, stuff coming in that's waste we're turning into a usable or sellable product, and that is the idea. And Alex and I really want to ramp up this side of the business. Maybe in the next sort of 2 to 5 years we want the whole recycling piece, because ultimately we're going to need to recycle, because this country generates so much waste and there's not enough places to put it. So the future is owning the machinery and the production line to generate a product from waste. But I tell you what, it's a crazy industry and there's not a lot of helpful people in the industry, but luckily I've managed to make some good contacts, probably through YouTube, and slowly but surely, as I keep saying when I'm in this yard, should be called the slowly but surely yard, we're learning and we're applying that knowledge. So I just love it. I just love owning machinery and I love making a product. It's hard because when you're in construction you're so reliant on people, but here in this yard we're mechanising as much of it as possible. So really it's going to be machine and people operating machines. So yeah, good day in the yard, good catch up, busy week, busy couple of days coming up now. So I'm going to head back to HQ, wrap up. That'll do for today, but the work must continue in this yard. Yeah, got it out. Speaking of getting scratches out, Warren, our in-house magic man, sprayer, and Tyler, magician, has gone to Project Mayville. Now, we've ordered the window, but it came in standard white when we actually needed it in black. Now, rather than wait for it to be remade and disappoint the customer, we sent Warren with his sprayer to spray it. However, there's an issue with the sprayer. That's been sent away to be serviced, but rather than upset the customer, Warren had the idea of going getting some rattle cans, channeling his inner Banksy and spraying it by hand. I was a bit dubious, as was KTM. However, it's turned out pretty good and the customer is made up, but you be the judge.
It's the money. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah. It's the money, it's the money, it's the money, yeah.
So welcome back to Chris's classroom, but actually, this is more about a story than a lesson. I want to tell you about a time when we got ripped off, in my eyes, for 35k. £35,000 was taken from us. Now what happened was, and if you Google this, you'll find the story and what happened next. We were probably, we'd been trading for about 5 years, absolutely flying, built up a really good reputation, and then we were asked to refit a bar in Manchester. Now it was a bar that had to be done in a really tight period of time because it had to be ready for Pride Week. So we literally did everything. This customer, we had really productive meetings, seemed really nice, everything was great. We threw everything at it. The job itself was worth about 200k, and we had guys working there morning and night. So we'd have one team finished, another one would go in and work through the night. I was so proud of the job, so proud that we got it finished, and it looked absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm still proud of it to this day. But as the job was progressing, the customer kept adding more and more, and we were just doing it because we wanted to get it ready for them in time, and we emotionally bought into their story. And yeah, they were laying it on thick, and we kept just going and going, and the money was coming through, but it was always taking a bit longer. It was always in dribs and drabs. Long story short, we managed to get almost everything out of them, and then it was down to the last 50k that they owed us, and they kept just coming up with excuses. Oh, this needs sorted. They were open at this point, making money. This needs snagging, that needs snagging. Oh, we found this scratch. And I was like, this is a nightmare. But I was a little bit naive, and we kept going, and we kept trying to make them happy. And we always stand by our workmanship. And it got to the point where I thought, right, I think we're being fobbed off now. And it was coming up to Christmas 2015. And we were, waiting. I was like thinking, well, we need this money in now. People need paying. I'd not been paid for a few weeks. It was getting pretty tight. So we rang them and rang them and rang them. Long story short, we got a letter emailed by their solicitor, but it was actually telling us that they'd appointed someone and they'd gone in to administration. Now, it happens. Businesses fail all the time. I get it. The law is designed to protect people if your business fails, and I get that and I respect that. However, this was completely planned by them. They'd done it many times, but stupidly, because I was naive and I was a bit younger, I hadn't looked into them. And what they do is basically they gamble using tradesmen's money, builders' money, etc. There was other people as well as us, and they got this bar ready, knowing full well they didn't have enough money, and they were hoping that it would make loads of money in Pride and other, you know, in other sort of events. It was coming up to Christmas. They gambled on making all that money to be able to then pay back the debt. But what they didn't, they literally over-egged their projections, and what they didn't plan on is it not being as busy as they thought it would. And they basically thought, you know what, we'll just bump the company. But what they did is, I didn't realise, they had it all set up so if they bumped the bar and all the debt that was owed to us and other tradesmen, their other assets, because they own another bar and they own a cafe and stuff like that, would still be protected. So they literally just shifted, got rid of all those and shifted back to their other bar. And I found out on Christmas Eve when I was away with my wife and my new baby, my middle daughter, I found out on Christmas Eve that they'd gone into administration properly. And yeah, if you Google my name, Chris Shaw, and 𝗕�40, you'll find out what happened. We managed to get our own back a little bit. I wouldn't say we got the money back, and it wouldn't really, you know, it doesn't really get us paid, and you know, and we had to battle on for nearly 2 years because it sets you back. That kind of money in those days was a lot of money to us. It is now, but it was a lot more then. It took us nearly 2 years to get over it. But have a Google, Chris Shaw 𝗕�40. I think it's still out there. Or Chris Shaw Manchester 42 or something. You'll see what happened. It was an article in the Manchester News, but let's just say a lot of people in the building community pulled together and we managed to run them out of town. But apparently they're still out and they're still doing it. But yeah, be careful. Make sure you know who you're working with. Check them out if you can. Credit check them if they're a business. Speak to people who've worked with them before. Ask about. Also, take deposits. Make sure you're getting regular interim part payments. And if people overrun with that, be zero tolerance. Get your money in. It's your money, yeah? Not somebody else's. It's yours and your kids' money. People like them were stealing money from my kids. And that's how it felt. I felt like I let my family down and my kids down. And honestly, I never want to go through that again. I've lost bits of money here and there since, and that's obviously, it rolls downhill. It impacts your ability to pay other people. But remember, if you've done the work, if you supplied materials, it's your money. Yeah? Nobody else's. Classroom closed. See you tomorrow. Good morning, it's Friday and the sun is shining upon Manchester, England. I am not complaining. I hope it's like this weekend because man has got to cut his grass. And I'm enjoying cutting my grass. I find it quite therapeutic. That and jet washing, definitely having a midlife crisis. Well, this is probably my sixth midlife crisis now. Busy end to the week. I've popped down to the yard again because I'm really trying to get the momentum into this yard now. But over at Preferred Joinery, I think you'll like this one. Our mate Devo is going to show a couple of tricks of the trade. Over to you, boys.
Nice one, Chris. So yeah, welcome back to Preferred Joinery, and the weeds start to grow back here. Have to deal with them, get some killer off eBay. So yeah, inside today we're going to try and show you how to make a gate and a door frame. Devo, our main man, is getting set up, ready to knock it together. He's got the drawing that's been drawn up for him, and we're going to try and talk you through the process of doing it. The bandsaw, I've been told, is also being fitted. So after watching the video last week where you've seen our little montage of getting the bandsaw in on the back of off the back of the truck, the new one's now being fitted, which looks much better than the other one. And we've had loads of comments as well about the old one, because we were looking to scrap it, and a few people come forward and said, can we buy it from you or can we take it off you? So if you are looking to take it and you do want to make us an offer, then let us know, because Devo's going to start the bidding. I'm going to start the bidding at 700, yeah. And Elvis did use this one, so that might throw a few more quid on top of it, like, you know. But no, yeah, so that one that we had is 8 years old. So 8 years old, yeah, which basically should still be working in theory, and it's still a good bandsaw. It's just a little bit temperamental now, on, off, but it's easily fixable. That was the brake that was gone, wasn't it? So the brake had gone, yeah, so basically once you'd finished cutting, instead of it stopping like pretty much immediately, it ran for maybe a couple of seconds more than it should do, which obviously a safety feature. It needs to be fixed. Is it? No, it needs to be fixed. As I say, the lad who does all our machines come in, seeing it, and he said, look, for the price involved to get it repaired, I'd just advise you buying a new one. So we invested in a new one. Obviously, you know, it's not the cheapest machine to buy, but you know, it's going to last for another good 8, bigger picture years. Is it'll last us much longer, and it's a nice clean cut as well. I'll give you a demonstration if you want to show. Very, very clean cut, I'll show you. See, nice and clean. Nice clean cut. Yeah, there's less bending, isn't it? I know, that's what I mean. I've got a woman now, so I can't be having anyone getting in touch with me anymore. Got one now, yeah, I found one, yeah, I got it on eBay. Yeah.
I put a part extra for a little stereo that I wasn't using anymore. I'm getting more use out of it than the stereo, I must say, you know.
Yeah, that's Devo's only fan email, by the way, so if anyone wants to donate and sponsor them.
Yeah, I'm struggling to make the rent these days, so if you could just, like, you know, a fiver each from everyone would be great, and that'd get me to Benidorm for a couple of weeks as well. Thank you very much.
Richard and Devo are getting ready to put a door together. Devo's going to knock it all up, but this is a door that's come from Instagram. So it was a post that we done on Instagram on a door we done a couple of years ago. We had loads of interest off it, and this customer's come on and he wanted a door, similar type door
to match that existing one in Woodlands Road.
Yeah, and then a frame to go. So we're going to try and show you today how it's made and what the process is behind it. So on the table here is the timber in it brought in.
This is the planed up timber brought in, the 4x2.5 to make the door frame.
So he's already cut it down to size then?
It's all cut to size, it just needs rebating and draft stripping, and then obviously set the tenant in, and then the mortar set for the head and the stiles, and obviously tenant them all in and knock it all up together, and then make the door then. So
the door itself, you'll see over here, is getting made out of them pieces of the timber on the floor. So they're just rough timber that's come in, and looking at them now you think, what is going to be made out of them?
Yeah, well they're 10-inch boards obviously, so we'll rip them down the middle, and that, you know, that'll get your stiles and your head, and then obviously your mid-rail and your bottom rail. So you rip them first, then you'll plane them? Yeah, we'll rip them first and then plane them. Then plane them down, and then mortar and setting the joints to knock it together. And then obviously plane them all up, then rebate them as well. Yeah, for the glass and the ply panels, and then you've got to set the tenant then, and mortars the stiles, and then yeah, it'll all come together. So Devo's just setting up the machine now, so he's going to rebate all them pieces first, isn't he? Yeah, then he'll draft strip it for the door. Then he'll put them on the tenant machine. Yeah. And then we'll start mortaring. So we're going to let Devo crack on, get set up, make a start, and then we'll start showing you the process then and talk you through it.
So basically what I've just done there is put me rebate in for the glass, which has to be 41mm, because the glass is 24 plus a 15-inch bead and 2mm clearance, which comes to 41.
So like see that then, is it the side panel then, is it?
Yeah, this would be for the side panel. Now this is just the test piece. Obviously these are going to be the ones that are going to go through, but we always have to have a test piece to make sure all the sizes are spot on. So once that's rebated, then basically this is the job sheet. So once these are all rebated, this is basically where the glass is going to sit at the sides, and this is where the door is going to sit in the middle.
So that piece then you've just rebated them, is that one of these ones here?
No, all I've got there, that's just a simple test piece. Oh, okay. Yeah, these are the 𝗕𝗏𝗧𝗏, these are the sills and the heads and the trannies.
So you'll always push a rough piece in
Always
first?
do, yeah, to make sure your size, you know, if you start testing it on the one that you're going to use, if it's a little bit out, then it's going to start showing. So it's worth just taking a little short piece, and then when I've got that, I can take that on the tenant and set it properly. So when I'm happy with that, everything can go through then.
So then you'll still use the test piece on the tenant?
I'll use the test piece, and I may be able to use it anyway later on the job, like, you know, because the small offcuts there.
Is that the right size then that you've set up there then?
This is spot on now, yeah. 41mm by 15, because obviously when the double glazed unit sits in, it has like maybe a half-inch piece all the way around, like round the glass. So this basically covers it. So when it's sat in, you won't see that. Oh yeah. And obviously the bead will sit on top of the glass, and you'll have maybe a 2mm gap at the top, just so it sits in nice. So obviously the door is going to be a little bit thicker, so that's just for the glass. The door is going to be slightly different. The door being so thick, what we have to do with the door is we don't rebate out for the door, we have to plant on a rebate. So basically, as an example, we'll have to get something like this and just nail and fix it to the door, plant it on, yeah. If you rebate out both sides, that's going to look really thin in the middle. So what we always do is rebate for the glass and plant on for the door, and then draft strip down here, and the door will just sit in. So the draft strip's just a seal, isn't it? Yeah, that's all it basically is. It's just a groove, and this will groove right down there, and the draft strip will sit in like so, and the door will sit on, so it cushions it. So basically it's called draft strip simply. The name does what it says on the tin. It stops any drafts coming through. It cushions on, and it stops any drafts coming through at all, which is, you know, obviously what you want, like, you know. I'm going to run all these through now, yeah. Check all these sizes, and then set the tenner up, and then Bob's your uncle, run everything through. Sound. Everything should be okay. Any mistakes, obviously, you're never going to see that we like them, but, you know. We explained before about the customer, they come forward from Instagram.
So show you on our Instagram, you can see there. There's one of the doors that we'd posted that they'd seen and they liked. And there's another one here, which is that one. So they come in and said, we've got a door design that we like, can you come and can you build it for us? And that is the door there. It's just bigger pieces of glass essentially, with then 2 side lights and a top light as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is that a door number?
That's the number, 244, that's the address, yeah, 244.
So Devo's been cracking on, and he's now going to show us where we're up to.
Right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to mortise the tranny. It's called the transom. Just cover that bit. See that bit there? That's called the tranny. Not transvestite, a transom. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to put a dress on for this. So basically, I've just got to put the extractor on.
Put the extractor on?
Yeah.
Push it through, so it's basically like another spindle, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, yeah. It'll basically just give you a cut at the top of the bottom and it'll form what is basically a tenon. And all we need now, see, this is the middle part of the frame, so obviously I've got a tenon in the other part, but I'll do that in a minute. Basically, that's our tenon.
Yeah, so you've pushed that through, and it's been pushed through like that, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, basically, that's the way it's pushed through. Cut it at the bottom, cut it at the top, and it forms the tenon there.
Okay.
Right. So when we're happy with that, then we set the mortiser up to accommodate that tenon. This is basically the head of the frame. It's 49¼ inches wide, so obviously that's from that point there to the very back there. So this is going to be the head of the frame, the very top. So what I'll do is I'll mortise it, and I'll show you exactly what we have to do then. Flip it over.
Oh, so it doesn't go all the way through now?
No, you can't go all the way through. It'll just split the other side. It's much better and neater to be both sides. Right through.
Ah, so we'll get you so rather than bursting all the way through then?
Yeah, it'll just split the other side, which would be daft to do it that way. It's always better.
So you have a better clean cut then?
Yeah, you mark the other side. You got a nice clean one there, nice clean one there. So basically now what we need to do is to make sure that setting is going to be okay and that's going to fit. We'll basically sit in there like so. Okay. Alex, give us your finger and feel that. How perfect is that?
It's lovely that, mate, isn't it?
That's basically it, yeah. That's
both sides, isn't it?
That's our setting, yeah. That won't need sanding, that's all. It's going to take some out of a job. But that's pretty much it.
So then, if that's getting, you just glue it together and pin it?
It'll eventually get glued, yeah. Now this obviously isn't going into that, but this is just to show that, I mean, obviously all the tenons and the mortise are going to be this.
So that is a mortise and tenon joint?
That's a mortise and tenon joint, basically, yeah. A really good one as well. Yeah, even for me.
So it was a good demonstration, that?
It was, yeah, pretty much. I'm happy that came out like that. So yeah, that's it basically. So what I have to do now obviously is tenon everything, mortise all the door frame and just put everything together. And then obviously it's like a jigsaw. When you do it, you have to start at the top, get your sides in, and then you get your mathematics right. Get everything marked, mortise it, and then...
So that's for the frame then, is obviously, so the door's the same process again, isn't it?
The door's is pretty much the same process, yeah, especially with the mortise and tenon. Obviously, the door is slightly different. It's going to be a little bit thinner. The door's going to be 57 inches thick, the same thickness as that. Yeah. So basically, the door won't put a tenon on like that. The door will go through that way, and the tenon will be, obviously, you can twist that round, it'd be that way. That's going to be your door. Obviously, you cross that bridge when we come to it. So basically, the important thing is to get the door frame spot on. Then you got your size for your door. Then make sure the glass size is exactly the same. If that measures like 271, that's got to measure 271. So on. So obviously, you got to make sure everything's spot on. Then mark and mortise accordingly.
So that's the process all the time then, isn't it?
That's
no matter if you're doing the sash window or door?
Every single time, it's the same. Yeah, there's just a formula that you have to follow, obviously.
Yeah, because if that was going to be a window, it'd be the exact same, wouldn't it?
It'd be exactly the same, yeah. It'd be exactly the same. It might have a sash in it or just a piece of glass, but it's the same principle. You get to this stage, and then obviously
then once you've knocked it all up, then you'll knock it up dry, and then will they then put it together?
Yeah, you give it to them, yeah.
So Danny and Will will put it together then?
That's it basically. Like, once I'm happy that I've got it all together and it's dry, I'll screw it together dry. If I'm happy with the sizes, then the lads will just sand the insides of it then. Yeah. Give that a pad sand, make it nice and smooth, and then gets put together then.
So they assemble it all, yeah?
Yeah, so I do the hard part basically, and they just do the easy part, you know.
Yeah, so you'll see that there's like 2 draft strips inside, one which it touches right down, and that's a different type of one though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like a little, can't explain it, like a little circle one, what you rebate out the sash, and then the sash sits onto that then, you see. So no weather will get in there, no leaks.
Getting glazed on site?
No, Danny's glazing it all now.
Oh yeah.
But that's on the 2nd floor, this one. This one's above a shop. That's on the 1st floor, so it's only got one opening sash, so all the other sashes are fixed, so he'll glaze them all up now.
Oh, so that's them getting done on the floor there?
Yeah, and then when Dave fits it, he'll fit the fixed sashes in then.
When's the door for Marmion getting fitted?
I'm not sure, to be honest, because Dave goes on his own job.
Oh, okay.
I think next week, so.
So what's it called that we have in the middle? Planton?
Yeah, that's the
bar?
Planton bar, yeah, it's a duplex bar.
Duplex bar, yeah, because
So
it's one piece of glass in it.
One piece of glass, so we'll plant the bar on to make it look like seriously, so.
Oh yeah.
Just so you can get the thinner bar on the.
Got to buy it, because they want the thin bar,
you know
yeah.
I mean?
So when they want the thinner bar, there's no other way to do it, is there? Otherwise, you couldn't beat it up and put it all in. There's 2 pieces of glass. It has to be one piece right the way through. Oh yeah, so we're going to double draft shift
again, yeah. So, all good.
Yeah.
These are all the small 444 units, slimline units.
So it's hardwood frame, softwood?
Well, it's got a pair of doors in the middle, one open, and then 2 fixed doors in the side light, and then 3 sashes at the top, what rebate onto them, do you know what I mean? There's no like mullion in the frame, they're all rebated on to each other then, yeah. So
that's it for today in Preferred Joinery. So I hope you had a little good insight there into how to build a frame and a door in that sort of style with a mortise and tenon joint. So Devo's obviously going to be cracking on with that for the rest of this week. He'll start the door towards maybe going into next week, and then we'll bring it to you and show you what it's starting to look like. We'll try and show you the full process, so you've seen the start there, what it looks like when it's fresh timber coming into us, the rough sawn for the door, and then the nice plain down timber for the frame. And then you've seen them now putting it through the mortise and tenon, putting the joints in, putting it through the spindle, putting the draft strip in. So then we're going to keep showing you the documentary style of what's going to happen there, and when it gets knocked together, they'll assemble it on the assembly section, and it'll come through, then you'll see it at the end. So we'll show you, as I say, all of that process. But other than that, you know, the factory's going well, loads of bits going on inside. As always, we haven't had no stairs for a while, so if anyone wants any stairs, come and shout us. For some reason, no one wants stairs, everyone wants doors and windows. Also, loads of doors are coming through, I think because the pictures on Instagram and a few other bits that we're doing on the marketing side. We're getting loads of doors coming in. But you know, it's all good, we like doing doors anyway. I think Richard has had a nice little break from the stairs. But with that being said, I'm going to give you back to Chris now. He's going to take it from here.
So I don't think you've seen this part of the yard before. This is like a little shelter that we formed. Pretty temporary, to be honest with you, but we keep our towers and props, and this old forklift that we inherited, it's been great, this, because it's really good on the terrain, because the yard's obviously, the hard standing in places is a bit soft, but yeah, it's been an old girl, and it's served us well, this. But yeah, it's coming together, this yard, and it's so much better when the sun is shining. Over on Project Mayville, what we've been trying to do is show you this project, show our project sort of go from start to complete, but we're trying to be a bit more self-contained in the week, because I imagine that some of you guys get a bit frustrated because you see us actually smashing walls up and this, that and the other. The more interesting bits that we find, and the stuff that shoots well for YouTube, but we don't actually show you what some of the end jobs look like. And I said to you before, we have a strategy where we do the big jobs, and you know, we've got jobs for over one of the job values is over £2 million at the moment, but we also do the small 20, 30, even £5 jobs, and Project Mayville is one of them smaller ones. So we sent Hollywood to go and have a little look at some of the work finished, well, nearly finished. Over to you, Hollywood, up to no good in the hood. So this is another little bit of the yard that you probably haven't seen before. What we've got here is basically when people ring me and say, are you interested in buying this? I normally say yes. If I think there's a deal to be had, I'll buy it. So for example, I think I've bought about 10,000 bags. So you know, the ton bags that the aggregates come in. I bought about 10,000 of them, they're all bailed up there. And then also, a bit ago, a builder's merchant was going bump. I actually tried to buy it, but it wasn't worth going for. But they had a load of drainage, and we bought absolutely all of it. And honestly, I had to hire a storage container to put it all in. It's all pretty much been used now, but we're left with this sort of drainage stuff, which is actually underground 8-inch stuff, most of it, which, as you guys may or may not know, unless you're doing civils and stuff, you don't use a lot of 8-inch, but I was too pained to throw it away. I gave quite a bit to Dave from D&J when he came to see me once, but we've got probably, what, a few bags left. Now, these fittings on their own, you know, I bet they're worth a few quid. I think they were worth about 25, 30 quid. I can't remember, you'll probably correct me. But yeah, not been able to use them yet, but I know we will. And on one of our big projects that you've seen recently, project 849, we're doing a big drainage scheme there. So I'm hoping that my patience and persistence will pay off and we'll get to use some of that. Do you guys hold on to materials? I'm terrible for storing materials, hoping that one day we'll use them. And you know, often we do, but sometimes, I've said this before, you'll end up storing materials and never actually doing anything with them. And because you don't know what's there. So you need a system. And we've got the dig, well, when we find him, we've got the dig who knows what's in this yard, so he can sort of let my project managers know, let the guys know that what we've got, and we pump it out there. But yeah, I do end up sitting on stuff. But yeah, if you've got a deal to offer me, or if anyone needs any 8-inch underground drainage connections, hit us up. I think ultimately, long term, we really want to own a builder's merchant. Now, whether we start our own or whether we buy one or whatever, I think that is the plan long term. But right now, for this minute, the aggregate yard, the grab side, and us sort of supplying ourselves a little bit, we'll have to do. But yeah, we've got big plans, as I know you know. So that's it for another week at EveryTrade. I hope you like this episode, guys. I feel like our content is so varied, and I don't know whether we're making too much content for too many people, and some people don't like the bits we do in the mechanical side, on the property side, but they like the building. It's hard pleasing everyone all the time, so we're not even going to try. But we're just making what we want to make, what we want to watch, and what our friends like watching, and also the feedback we're getting. People seem to like the variety that these episodes bring. Some people have been telling me, which is amazing, that there's nothing else like this on YouTube. And I know we'll get comparisons to other sort of vlogging style people down south and whatnot, but we're just making our own content, telling our own story. We'll finesse the way we deliver the information and the content, and we'll get better, and I'm coming up with more ideas week on week. But I just want to keep at it, stay consistent, and keep telling our story. Come back on Wednesday for another episode of Who Knows What. Have a great weekend, guys. I hope now you're watching this, England won yesterday, but who knows. See you on Wednesday, guys. Have a great week. Click here for Wednesday's episode. Click here and here for episodes you should have watched before, and click here to subscribe to this channel, EveryTrade. Woo! Weather, man. Love it.